One last job on Martin before it gets too dark, and that is just a little bit of piffle to cheer me up because I'm up to here in rust and wiring still. Here we are, next job, cracking on with the seats. It's a very open weave fabric. It's no wonder that it falls apart on the areas that it rubs. I'm not going to replace it with the same fabric because, hey, I can't find it and it's really not that good. So, I'm just going to put a patch of canvas in this area here, and I'm going to put a couple of patches over these holes just to get the seat structurally viable again. With getting the seat structurally viable, the other thing I'm going to do is scrape off all this dried crud, this mud and foam, and get the foam back down to the decent stuff. I'll do that with some 60 grit sandpaper. I will literally sand the foam, clean it up, remove any loose bits like that, and then what I'll do is lightly dampen it down, and I'm going to put spray foam over here and shake that back into shape so that it matches the other side. Then I'm going to pull the seat foam off, and I'm going to sandblast the base, rust kill it, and then hit it with a good coat of satin black, and the rest of the seats will get done in due course. This is just something that I'm doing now while I'm waiting for other things to arrive. So what did I say? 60 grit sandpaper. Let me get some. My place is a lot like your place. Not everything falls readily to hand, but otherwise the spray foam won't stick to it. And another trick to make the spray foam stick is to spray this down. Just mist it with water. Sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but trust me, somehow, for some reason, it really makes the spray foam bite into the stuff, and when you sand it, you can feather out the edges really nicely. I've done lots and lots of spray foam work on seats. I've only found one brand that works well. All of the others are too firm. But we have the Gorilla Grip band made by a company called Sudal, and their consistency is just perfect for doing seat repairs. And the great thing is I've been using the same brand for so many years that I've now got a bit of a track record, and seats that I've done 10 and 12 years ago that are used by farmers on quad bikes are still looking just as good as when I did them. Right, that's got rid of all the loose stuff. It's got rid of all the dry, horrible stuff. Right, I'll gather together my equipment. Right, here we are 1 hour later. It's now gone off and we can remove the cling film. And because I put cling film underneath, it means that it hasn't stuck to the seat base, which is a bonus. And it should have given me a nice moulded bottom. There we go. So that means I don't have any carving to do there. I do need to do a little bit more filling here by the look of it, but I'll have a carve first and just see how much more is needed. I'll leave it on the base so that it's supported while I work on it. So what I'm going to do now is go and get a carving knife, and I'll just do the side profile to match this side, and then I'll trim a little bit off the top, and then we'll finish it with a bit of sandpaper. Right, now a fish filleting knife is probably the best knife for the job because they have a very thin, flexible blade. Mine's on the boat and the boat's not here, so I've just got an ordinary carving knife, quite sharp. And I'm just going to go a little larger than life because I'll finish it with sanding. But I'm just going to put the profile into it with this. And yes, it is firmer than the original foam on this side, but not a lot. The average person who pokes at it or sits on it will never even notice. And this is quite durable. I've done many dozens of quad bike seats and dirt bike seats, and I've also done a lot of seat modifications for friends. I've had friends who want to have a raised portion at the rear of the seat so that their passenger can see over their head. I've had people who want to raise the seat height because they've got long legs. I've had people who want their seat height lowered. I've taken 40 mils out of a seat and then brought everything down so that people with short legs can be comfortable on dirt bikes with long travel suspension. So I've done a lot of it. Please don't write in the comments that it doesn't work, because with this brand it does. Some brands are firmer. I've found that this particular brand is perfect for the job. So please don't lecture me. It doesn't take long at all to get this down to shape. This is how surfboards are made. People buy foam blanks and then shape the board to their own personal preferences and then glance over it. It's a very long and laborious task. It takes days and days to build a surfboard. But we're not doing that. We're rebuilding a manky old Land Rover seat. Now, it's areas like this where the foam peels away sometimes. Now, by dampening it before I start, that really does improve the adhesion. But I may have just missed a bit there, which is a shame. The rest of it, we shouldn't have any issue. I'm sure this will be a nice feathered edge along here when I finish. Of air bubbles here that need to be either sanded out or filled later. One thing that I didn't do on camera was I repaired the cover. Didn't have any of this material, of course, and this material's pretty open and susceptible to damage. So because this is the edge of the seat and it's susceptible to the wear and tear, I've just darned up these with patches on the inside of a similar material. Okay, so those splits are darned up. I haven't bothered repairing the piping. That's because I don't have any piping. I could have made some piping out of a strip of vinyl, folded it over this nylon rod and made my own piping, but I knew that I was going to be putting seat covers on it, so I didn't bother. All I want to do is structurally repair the seat. I've knocked up a seat cover here. It looks pretty bad because I've elasticated the edge so that it fits, but in a few moments when I've finished here, we'll slip this on and you'll see that it's actually quite a serviceable repair. On one of my other Land Rover repairs, which you'll find up here, I did a no-sew seat repair. The vinyl was okay, but the foam squabs were in a terrible shape. So I whipped the cover off, reshaped the squabs, put some extra foam in there to firm them up, and then pulled the cover back down over the whole lot, which made it much tighter. And that in turn makes it firmer when you sit on it. I think we can just about call that done. So I am going to go outside shortly and sandblast all this and then repaint it, but what we'll do now, I think, is just pull the cover on and see how it sits. Now when it gets pulled down and attached at the bottom here, it will fill out quite nicely. And then we can just put the cover over it, just to give you some idea. I'll slip the cover on. Of course I will be doing a top piece as well. Now the back of this cover, there it is, has got two wee holes in it for the pins on the back here, like the original cover has. So we'll just slip those over and then line up the holes in my cover. It just comes down and covers up any raw edges. So there we go. So once I've sandblasted and repainted the seat, I can call that done. And I'll do the same with the other seat. And then I'll do the backs as well, because the backs are pretty shattered. Did you like that? Right, here it is, freshly sandblasted. I'm now going to put some rust converter on it. Excuse me, I've got a mouthful of chocolate. One thing you must never do is put the rust converter back into the bottle. When you've dipped your brush into the rust converter and it's touched the rust, it will contaminate what's in the baked bean can. So you must never put that back in the bottle, because the next time you come to use it, a chemical reaction will have occurred and it will have gone dark chocolatey brown and it won't kill rust anymore. So you can see how quickly it's turning purple. Eventually that will go black, and that's treated rust. So look at that pitting over on the left hand side, just underneath where my hand is now. It was very, very rusty. It took quite a bit of sandblasting to get that out. So putting the rust converter on as well will just ensure that I get a good base. So I'll just finish off with this and then we'll get some satin black over it. Right, while the rust murdering liquid does its thing, we will come back inside, and I'm going to prep this with a good coat of high strength spray adhesive to both parts of the seat, because this centre portion needs to be stuck down to the seat foam. So I'll give that a good spray and then we'll walk away. And I'll leave that for 15 minutes or so to tack off. Then I can come back in and we can push that down, knowing that it'll stay there. And while the paint dries, back into the back cave, and we'll stick this seat cover down onto the seat base, making sure I line it up very carefully before I do so, because you don't get more than one chance with this. This glue's really, really aggressive. Now, these seats have a piped edge at the bottom as well, and that piped edge has to be fed into the channel in the bottom of the seat frame. Once it's in that channel, there's a rubber strip that needs to be knocked in with a rubber mallet, and that holds it in there until, well, until time immemorial, I suppose. Now, because mine's 38 years old or so, it's pretty crusty and hard, so I'm using a little bit of silicone spray to help it to go in easier. I'm just spraying the channel, and then I'll dig out my little rubber mallet and we'll just tippy-tappy it all the way around and get it into the slot. Now, just to finish off, at the back corners there were some little plastic clips, but they were a little bit hammered as well, so I'm just replacing those with some small rivets. Then the job's about done. One more thing though, let's have a look and just see what it looks like once the cover's on. Now, this is acrylic marine canvas. It's very waterproof and very abrasion resistant. It's about the same price as ordinary cotton canvas, but super duper durable. And when I've made the cover for the backs of the seats as well, I think I'll have something that looks rather nice. One of the next jobs I'll get onto that needs to be prettied up is the centre console. Mine's the early model Land Rover 110, not quite a Defender. That's why he's called Martin, because he's not the full Aston. He's got the hand-beaten alloy bodywork, and he's got the alloy V8 engine and the four-wheel drive, but he's not quite an Aston Martin. So, yes, there's a bit of prettying up to be done, but there's still lots of other work. I'm going to be getting it up. I'm going to be getting Martin up onto axle stands at some stage and sandblasting underneath, getting ready to do some small rust repairs in the chassis. I've got rust work to do on all of the doors. Hey, by the by, if you find the stuff that I'm bringing you in these videos useful or entertaining, I would really appreciate it if you could buy me a coffee. There's a link up above. You can drop a one-time donation of $5 or $10 or whatever you feel, just to say thanks.